We are now recording.
Hey everyone, welcome to the February 2 edition of the Presto TSC meeting. So we have three agenda items today. And for the newcomers, like I see some new names. For the new folks, you can see the agenda under github.com prestodb/TSC repository. And there's a meetings folder there, and we put the agenda there. Like for the future, if you want to propose any agenda items, you can just create pull requests against the agenda files for the specific date. So for today, we have three agenda items. One is about the conformance program that we have recently started discussing. The second is about the Google Summer of Code, which is approaching. And the third one is about an update from the Outreach Committee Chair, Dipti. So let's start with the first one. Gail, can you start please with a very high level update about the conformance program?
Yeah, absolutely. So at the Linux, and for those who haven't met me before, I'm your program manager for Presto Foundation. I work for the Linux Foundation, and I lead all of your operations and kind of back-end stuff, and then help, I support Nezi as your TSC chair and Dipti as the Outreach Committee chair, as well as the governing board. So nice to meet you all. And if you ever need anything from me in particular, you can find me on the Presto Slack or at operations@prestodb.io. So for the conformance program, that's something the Linux Foundation helps support our projects in to support trademark usage. So basically, our legal team helps. We have a small legal team at LF that will help you guys, and you being the TSC, to stand up a means for different companies or technologies to use the Presto trademark, but do it in a way that adheres to what you as the TSC define and decide what makes something Presto, and conforms, adheres to what your guidelines are. So if a startup, any company of any size, or if anyone wants to use the Presto trademark, they would have to go through the conformance program, pass whatever checks the TSC creates, and then they would be permitted to then use the Presto logo on things to say, hey, we're proud consumers, or proud users, or proud supporters of Presto. And that's something that, like, as most of our, I think, as our projects get bigger and grow and start getting used more, it's really helpful to make sure that you're seeing the tech that you create be used in the ways that you intend it to be used. So the board has been given just like a high level of what it will be like, but really the TSC decides how it gets used. We're going to have the attorney who's helping us stand up initially will be joining the TSC meeting next month in March, hopefully. And then he'll be able to provide a much better overview. Being a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not great at providing the kind of ins and out explanation, but we'll have Steve Winslow on the call to kind of help answer questions. But I just wanted to give you guys an update that's coming, and that we'll be asking for volunteers and help to start creating that program. Any questions on that? I know it was a very kind of simple explanation. Okay.
I guess as we explore more, like we can have another session where we discuss more details, like in our future TSC meetings. Like this, just to kickstart the discussions, basically.
Yeah.
Like we are still learning. Like there's a lot of detail. So as we learn, we'll share, and we will get input from TSC for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Gail. So the second item. So the second item is about an announcement about Google Summer of Code 2021. So I already shared an email yesterday with the TSC mailing list about the Google Summer of Code. And it is a program where people mentor students. And I shared that email because I want to see whether there are if you have any project ideas, like maybe like the TSC, you can put together a proposal, and Gail can help submit that proposal. So the project proposal can be about like adding new features, connectors, enhancements to Presto, like anything that you can think of that can be useful for Presto. And this is a program where if you submit a proposal, you're expected to mentor students, and it's a multi-month long program as far as I know. And during this mentorship, you need to do some investment, like time investment, and that is probably like several hours a week to help the student and evaluate the student towards during this program. So I've already shared some examples from the past. Like there's a CNCF template. I shared that in the TSC mailing list. There's a previous example application from GraphQL from 2020, Google Summer of Code. And Gail also shared a link in the chat group here for a template. So you can check that as well. So the applications are opening on January 29, which is already open basically, and the deadline is February 19. So that's like 17 days if you're interested in submitting a proposal. So Gail, do you have anything to add?
Sure. So in that GitHub link I popped in the chat and I'll also include in the minutes, that's where if you have ideas you want to submit, you can just submit a pull request to include there. It's really helpful if one person volunteers to kind of be a primary point of contact for the Summer of Code program. I'm here, of course, to help. I'll help submit the application and help do some wrangling, but it's helpful to have at least one person from the TSC say, hey, I'll be the org admin here and kind of oversee it from a high level and help out there. And then we can submit, as many ideas as you want here in the proposal. I will coordinate with, if someone doesn't want to volunteer to help lead, that person and I will coordinate to submit the actual application. Now, anyone who does want to participate in this and say, yes, I want to be a mentor, it's generally a few hours a week that you would help mentor a student. There is a stipend. I don't know the amount, but both the mentors and mentees are paid by Google for participating in this. So there is some financial compensation for that time that you're giving. But it can be really anything, like re-architecting something, adding specific features. It's a really cool way to get some labor, some free labor on the code base and on the project here. And it's a cool way to kind of get your project name out there in the community as well. But overall, it's really neat. But if anyone's interested in it, we do have a link there if you want to start throwing in some ideas. Just submit a PR to that link. Is anyone kind of right now who you're thinking you might have some interest in this, you might want to talk about it more, maybe we can talk offline about it? Okay, well, if anyone is interested in this and wants to, I mean, we have the link there, and you can ping me on Slack or reach out to Nezzy and I on email or Slack, and we can start talking about it a bit more.
Yeah, so I put the link in the chat group. You can go summerofcode.withgoogle.com to read more about the program. There's a lot of details, and they have a comprehensive mentor guide that I shared in the TSC mailing list. There's a lot of details that you can read through.
Yeah, and we could probably do like a Slack channel too for the mentors, anyone interested in participating.
Nezzy, Gail, I don't know if I mentioned this in the last meeting. There's a very similar program that our open source team also sponsors through the Major League Hacking. One of the differences between the two is that Major League Hacking actually has paid mentors who do a lot of heavy lifting, interacting with the student community. And many of our other open source projects have found that useful because it takes a lot of load off the maintainers. So if that seems to be a sticking factor with people that, hey, I can't commit like 4 or 5 hours a week, then, I would also like you to consider this program. I am sharing this link out here. But again, the most important thing is finding and identifying a project that is suitable. I think that's the key thing. And then I think, we can evaluate if one or the other, is more convenient for the maintainers to engage with. So just putting it out there for consideration. But, let the TSC think of a good project that they can actually, make part of either of these programs.
Yeah, thanks for sharing the link, Ahmed. So it looks like going to the Major League Hacking website, the deadline is May 10. So
yeah, we have a full year. So our team sponsors them, has sponsored them since last year. The May 10th would be the last batch. I'm sure we'll probably continue with them, but this is a 12-week program. And, they provide a lead mentor who's responsible for all student engagement. And we just have to give like one POC from the project. Typically about an hour a week is the commitment that's expected. That's my experience with the, 7 or 8 projects that we have done so far with them, with React and Jest. They've all participated in those programs in the last couple of programs. And we also do sponsorships through minority and diversity groups through this program as well. So my team's invested in this, so I have a selfish interest to push it out. But it does take a lot of load off, the maintainers, and that was one of the feedback we heard a lot from, people when we had initially asked them to actually do summer of code.
Yeah, thanks for the information, Amit. Amit shared a link in the chat group, folks. If you want more details, it's a comprehensive website. We can also reach out to Amit if you have specific questions.
Yeah, but I would really encourage the team to just think of a good project. I think the rest we can kind of decide, what makes a better home for that.
Yeah. So we are to the last item on the agenda, which is an update on our outreach committee by our outreach chair, Dipti. Dipti, are you going to present something? Okay, you're already up. Great. But are you muted?
Yes, you can hear me now. All right, yes. So first off, we announced PrestoCon last week on Friday, PrestoCon Day. So this is the kind of shorter version of PrestoCon, which PrestoCon itself will be every year, which is the marquee event, which will be in September. PrestoCon Day is a shorter version in a slightly different time zone. So we're targeting the European, Western Europe, as well as East Coast time zone, so that we get more engagement from different parts of the globe. The conference itself is planned for March 24th, and I'm gonna post in the link in here. Main thing for the TSC is that the CFPs is open, and so I'd recommend and encourage everybody to go in and put in a CFP. There's a lot of great work that's going on. For example, the multi-coordinator work, I think the C++ work, there's the iceberg connector that Twitter is working on. All of these are really great sessions. And so I would highly encourage folks to essentially put in a CFP. The end date for the CFP is is the middle of next week. I think it's the 9th. And so just a heads up on that. Any questions on the CFP or PrestoCon day? Okay. Next up, we have expanded our meetup list, where we have beyond Bay Area. We now have New York, London, Bangalore, Sydney, and a couple more are planned. And so as we expand our meetups, we'll have local champions in each region to take these further. We've seen really great engagement. This just started a few weeks ago, and we already have close to 100 members across these that are new members, and so fairly excited about that. Of course, the events are virtual right now, but hopefully once things open up later in summer, later in the year, we'll have more local events as well. So just a heads up for that. If you work with teams in those regions, do encourage them to join the meetups. We'll also look for champions over time, and it will be great to see more engagement from these meetups as well. We do have a new Presto mailing list, which is managed by the foundation, and we've started to send out newsletters, monthly newsletters about various events, blogs, a variety of things that are happening in the community. So just a heads up on that. And I think May is on the call. May manages our blog and our blog role. And if you have ideas about new blogs, new projects, etc., I'd highly recommend reaching out to her and brainstorming an idea, and we can help push those out to our PrestoDB blog. Finally, we have a new member, Starburst. So welcome, Starburst, to the foundation. I see Camille on. Good to have you on. And then last off, we did start a new program, Presto Hour. This is a monthly event which will follow our monthly meetup. And For the first one, the feedback I got was, first off, thank you to folks for joining in and sharing. There was a lot of really good information shared on what projects are being worked on, status of various PRs that are interesting. And so thanks for the participation, folks. Very, very helpful for everybody. We will see this growing over time as we start promoting things more, as we start engaging more across various channels. But the feedback I got was it was actually really helpful to get more visibility into some of the bigger PRs and the bigger projects that are being worked on. And so that I think can be, there were some good blog ideas that actually came out of those discussions. And I'd encourage people to share more via Slack or blogs, etc., for those projects that you are working on, and as they get merged in or as the PR gets finalized. That's all that I had planned for today, folks. Amit or anyone else, may anything more to add to that?
I think you covered it.
Great. Nezi, any questions? Otherwise, back to back. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, got a quick question. Like, what? Maybe I missed it. What is the deadline for the call for papers? The call for presentations?
Here, let me. It's next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
Yes.
Okay, so if anyone has a talk proposal, so by next Wednesday there should be a proposal put in, right?
Correct. And
Okay.
I am adding the link to the right there. So you have that's the link to the CFP.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, thank you very much for this.
That's the link to the event itself. It will be we already have a few panels that are kind of being discussed. If you have requests on specific topics that you think would be good for the community to hear, or that we could add to our agenda, just share with us so that we can reach out to the right people and get those into the CFP as well.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing these updates, Dipti.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks.
Just a call out, registration is free. So if you're just interested in participating, it's at no cost to your company.
Yes, absolutely. Do register. I would say CFP first. This is the TSC call, so we want to get those great talks out there. But absolutely do register. It's completely free, no code needed this time around. It's fully open.
Any other questions or comments for Dipti? Otherwise, we have been through the whole agenda in 23 minutes. So, okay, thank you folks for joining today, and thanks for all the presenters, Dipti, Gail, for Amit providing the information, and we'll see each other next month. Thanks a lot.
Thanks everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.